Well, a few minutes ago, we had one of our listeners join us, and she was saying it's very important to just go outside, play, and be silly. And I agree. And I'm very lucky that I've spent my whole life doing silly things. That's what I get paid for. I'm very, very lucky. And my wife is a very fun person. She loves doing silly things. She probably likes them more than I do. I get my silliness pretty much out of my system here on the show, but she doesn't have a silly show to do. So she has to find other ways. And the other day, she said, I want you to go with me to the hardware store because I got to pick out a frame. And I didn't ask what the frame was for or anything. We have a hardware store near us that has, hardware, nuts and bolts and tools and all. But they have a section also that's like a home section where they sell candles and some furniture. I mean, it's a bougie sort of hardware store, but a good one. And she said, I got to pick out a frame. So I figured it's, for like a baby shower or something like that. So we go into the hardware store, and I'm looking around, and I'm looking at the furniture, and I'm looking over where the garbage cans are and thinking, man, I could use a new garbage can like that one. And she's standing in front of the frames, and she's just looking at the frames. And finally, I go over to the frames, and she doesn't say anything. So I'm just standing there, and then I look over at the frames, and there are about 40 to 50 frames, I guess. They're all stacked up on shelves. And a picture of me is in every third frame. She got a hold of Sheri and said, will you send me some pictures of him? Sheri sent pictures of me in a cat sweater, sent pictures of me celebrating with a listener, pictures of me with my grandchildren, pictures of me alone, doing a Bob pose for somebody. There must have been 15 of them. She went 3 days earlier into that hardware store and opened up the backs, took out the picture of the generic people and put in my picture and let it just sit there for 3 days because I was unable to go.
So God, that's great.
When she reached out to me and told me what her plan was, I was in the middle of working on something. I was like, sit tight, queen. I gotcha. Within minutes, I had all of these pictures pulled because I have an entire file in my photo library marked Bob Lacey. Within minutes, I had all of those pictures on their way to her and said, listen, I'm just waiting for the video. I cannot wait because himself. You often accuse him of being oblivious. How long will it take himself to recognize himself in the photo frame section at the store?
When I saw my own face, and the first one I saw was the fuzzy cat sweater, I didn't know what I would. You know what? I'm going to be honest. I thought, boy, the show is really popular that they're using. They're grabbing.
Oh, I'm so sorry that's what you thought.
Boy, I hate for you to have them kind of expectations, Bob.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So disappointing.
It took me about 10 seconds to realize what she had done. And we know the woman who runs that part of the store, that department, and she came by and she looked and she had to do a double take because she knows me. And Mary said, I'm so sorry. I hope you're not mad. I'm going to take all those pictures out, but I did that 3 days ago. Nobody realized that there was some strange guy in the pictures wearing all of these
you wouldn't. Yeah, you wouldn't, though, because you don't really study the people that come in the frame, right? That's how she was able to get away with it.
I
do.
Took?
Yeah.
So I think she has always sort of had a little chip on her shoulder. She hears me laughing in the studio here, and she goes, "It couldn't have been that funny." I said, "Yeah." Lamar said something. Sheri said something. It was very funny. Couldn't have been that funny.
Sign up for our newsletter. We never spam you.
Never did.
Get Bob and Sheri exclusives. Just go to bobandsheri.com.
I had such a moment yesterday of realizing that even when your kids, aren't babies anymore, you still have moments where they show you that they think that you have some sort of mommy magic that can fix things. So my older daughter, who graduates from college on Friday, my older daughter texted me and she was like, Mom, we have to go to New York for this wedding next month. and everything is so expensive. Don't you have like a code or a credit card or something that makes traveling cheaper? I was like, yes, I have a secret code that makes traveling cheaper. So I was like, well, what are we talking about? She goes, the flights are ridiculous, and hotels in New York City, why are they so expensive? And I was like, let's see. You're going to a wedding in Midtown Manhattan in June. Why would that be so expensive? Could it be that it's New York City in the summertime, peak travel season, not just for people in America, but for people from all around the world? So I said, all right, let me see what I can find. Because not to brag, but I am a booking.com level 3 genius because I use booking.com so much. So I actually found them this cute little hotel 5 minutes from the 14th Street subway station. But here's the dealio with this cute little hotel that I was actually able to find them for like $160 a night in Midtown Manhattan in June. There's a catch. The catch is it's in an old 19th century townhouse with no elevator. And when you look at the pictures on the website, the bed, it's like a full-size bed, and it's under the window, and you can lay in bed and touch the wall on either side with no gap in between. That's how narrow and small these rooms are. But you're right there in the city, and it's adorable, and it's all it's like called the Chelsea Inn, and the street pictures of it. It looks like something from, like when you're a kid and you daydream about, I'm going to go to New York City and I'm going to live in New York City, and this is what my life is going to be like. And you picture where you're going to live. This is what you were imagining, right? It is adorable.
Like a brownstone? It's like a brownstone?
Yes. Yes. And it's 150 years old, and you lay in bed and you can put one hand on each wall. I think, and I'm pretty sure about this because my daddy was in prison. I think the law requires prisoners to have more space than this hotel room in New York has. But it's so, so, so cute. So I was able to use my special code that only I have to make travel cheaper. But there's no dealing with the airlines. There is absolutely no dealing with the airlines. So I'm like, y'all are going to have to, if you're not willing to pay to fly at 6:00 in the morning, which is the only way you can get it cheap, you're going to have to drive or take the train or something, because the airlines right now, I think it's like Spirit, where you go online, you buy the ticket. It looks too good to be true. It's $86 round trip to Nashville. What they didn't tell you was there's an upcharge to sit inside the aircraft, an upcharge to have a seat, an upcharge to be able to carry a personal item. A personal item, Bob, is not the same thing as carry-on. You pay extra to have like a handbag or a backpack or like a man purse, a MERS. They charge you an extra fee to walk onto that airplane with your handbag. And by the time you're done paying all of the fees, and yes, I would like to have a seat where the oxygen drops in case of an emergency, you're right up to the regular fares. It's insane. And no wonder.
Spirit is considered one of the top 5 carriers in the country right now. It's number 1. Yeah. It was just released. Alaska Airlines was number 1, knocking off Delta for the first time in several years.
Listen, I'm prepared to
with
fly
or without
back.
A door?
Without a door, that's what I thought.
I'm prepared to fly in the cargo hold of a UPS plane if I could just save a few bucks to go visit